What is up, Insta? What is up, podcast? What is up, YouTube? Holy crap, just enough time to use the dunny and get right into the show today. Crazy, crazy day, crazy week. I usually, I'm at the office maybe three times a week, I should say. But this week we're having an exciting educational course at Young Nils Incorporated doing the 1 week course. We've got people from all over the world, India, freaking all over the country, Oregon, freaking New York, everybody there. It's crazy. You got 20 girls over there. So it's been hustle, having a lot of fun over there at Young Nels today in Anaheim. First of all, I want to thank my Patreon subscribers, of course, as always. Before we start anything, we want to start to thank my Patreon subscribers. Especially want to thank my Tilted Farmhouse guys. Tilted Farmhouse, they hit the $100 level. They hit the $100 tier. And here's why, my friends. Here's why they hit the $100 tier. Because they're business owners. They're a business. They print shirts. They do hats like this. They do stickers. So they said, what the hell? Most people spend $20,000 a month on marketing, right? I can put $100 into the Patreon with Ray, and they're going to announce my company. And here we are announcing Tilted Farmhouse. That's right, Tilted Farmhouse. They can do your embroideries for your shirt, for your hats. They can do shirts. They can do stickers. Tilted Farmhouse. You got to hit them up on Instagram. Remember, it's a mom and pop shop. They only do so many per month, so you got to get them quick. Tilted Farmhouse. They're doing a great job. Thanks again for that Patreon level. Tilted Farmhouse. Good. Let's go ahead and start our show today. Woo! I'm going to take a breath real quick before I even do anything. And one day we'll get the Monster sponsor as well. I'm going to take a big sip of the Monster. Thank you, Monster, for making my day keep going. Welcome, everybody from Twitch. As you're coming in, we can see the comments. Fantastic. Welcome, Twitch. Let me just make sure that's happening in the background there. Hold on one second. Twitch. Make sure it's actually coming through. Looks good. Oh, yeah. It's there. Fantastic. Cool. So that's going fantastic. So my guest is an amazing guest. As always, we have another awesome show for you today, guys. We have another awesome show for you today. Last time we had this guy on, it was super exciting. We were talking about his first book called Money Grows on Trees. And he just blew our minds. I had one notebook out that day. I hope you guys have your notebooks ready. I had one notebook out. I filled the notebook full of information, full of stuff that this guy teaches, all the stuff about money grows on trees. I filled up 2 notebooks on the information that he gave. Hopefully you guys have your notebook ready. Hopefully you guys have a pen ready. Hopefully you guys are ready for this crazy stuff. When me and Ross go on the show, when me and Lloyd Ross get on the show, it's out of control, bees, and that's what's going to happen today. It was an awesome show last time. It's going to happen again today. This time we're going to talk about his sophomore book called Money Buys Happiness. What? Money buys happiness? Yes, it buys happiness. He's going to show us how the 5 frameworks to becoming a millionaire. Have you guys ever thought, did you ever think about that? You guys are like me, what? A millionaire? That'd be crazy. 5 frameworks to becoming a millionaire. Money buys happiness. Please help me welcome Mr. Lloyd Ross. What's up, my man?
Hey, Ray, what's up, man? Good to be back.
Yes, sir. We had to have you back. One show is not enough with Lloyd Ross. There's so much information. You can check out his website, lloydross.com. I believe it's called lloydross.com, isn't it?
lloydjross.com.
lloydjross.com. And it's an amazing website with lots of information. You can buy that book, Money Grows on Trees. First of all, start there like I did, the 7 secrets to success. Start there and then get into, thankfully, he gifted me the book last time, Money Buys Happiness. It's crazy, the stuff this guy comes up with. You guys know, your mom tells you, your teacher tells you, money doesn't grow on trees. Money can't buy happiness. We've heard that our whole life. And then I find Lloyd, and he's like, all totally opposite ideas, totally crazy ideas. So had to have him on the show. We went through the 7 steps last time, Lloyd.
We did.
This time we're going to get into the Money Buys Happiness book. Lloyd, the thoughts about money, changing your money story. First, let's start there. I think your ideas are amazing. They break the status quo. I mean, money grows on trees. Money buys happiness. Lloyd, why do you think that you're just not afraid, that you're fearless of breaking that quo, status quo? Mr. Corona's on the show now. Welcome, Mr. Corona. Status quo. You're not afraid to break those status quos. You're not afraid to be controversial. Not afraid to say those things and sell books and believe. You obviously believe in those, that you wrote the books. Why are you not afraid to just say things like that? That's crazy.
You know what, Ray? It's like, if you're not controversial, you're not going to get anyone's attention. So
Nice.
I want to get people's attention because I want to educate them. But no one's going to, it's the same old story. You're not going to patent interrupt anyone with a cliche. You have to really hit people right in the center of their heart or their head and say, listen, what you've been taught is all wrong. These things can happen if you believe them. If like the reality is, money can grow on trees if you know which trees to plant. And money can buy happiness if you understand the concepts of how to earn it. Money buys happiness when you earn it. Money buys happiness when you give it away. And money buys happiness when you use it for good. And, so these concepts we grow up with are not accurate. And that's why I'm not scared because they're true. That's why.
Nice. That's the answer right there. I'm not scared because they're true. Bam, baby. You guys heard it here, Ray's Flaves. This is all the good stuff. Mr. Corona, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Twitch. Everybody coming on stream. Love you guys. Love you guys. Put in some questions if you guys have any questions at all from Mr. Lloyd. He's got so much information. We're going to go right into his book. He's only got so much time. This guy is all over the place. He's doing shows all over the country. He just did a actual financial success stream on, what was it, yesterday or the day before Australia time?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday. How'd that go?
Yeah, good. We had almost 100 on, and it was really good, effective. Yeah,
nice.
Just showing people some of the stuff out of my first book, and really just showing the practical side to actually implementing some of that stuff to get ahead. Because you can read all the books you want, but unless you get into action, you're not going to see anything. And money making and money multiplying is a combat sport. You got to get dirty.
Ooh, I like that. It's physical.
It is.
You don't think about money being physical. Lloyd's physical with it. It's physical with it. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yep. So let's get right into the 5 frameworks. I read the book, Money Buys Happiness. Yep. It's the 5 frameworks to millions method. We'll go right into it. I don't want to run out of time here like I did last time. So we got into, the first building block is the mindset, of course. Sure. Wealthy mindset. And you break it into 3 parts: vision, goals, and environment. Vision. I'm an idiot, Lloyd. I'm not very smart. What's the difference between vision and goals? I thought they were the same thing.
Yeah, that's a really good question, isn't it? Because before I learned it too, I thought the same thing. I mean, I didn't even know really about goals and vision and stuff like that. I thought it was a bit woo-woo and weird and so forth. Right. But you don't need to have good eyesight to have good vision. And I think that, money and your millionaire journey begins in your head. You have to believe you can do it. That's the most important thing. Henry Ford used to say, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So having the vision, having the vision is about, where do you see your life? What sort of life do you see yourself living in 10 or 20 years? That's the vision. Like, what does it look like? And I think a lot of people just reside to the fact, or they don't even think that far ahead. They don't live that far into the future. They're living for today or yesterday, which is the worst place to be, is yesterday. So I think that having a vision is like, well, if you don't have a 5-year plan, or you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, you're already there.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So when it boils down to vision, here's what I mean. What do you want your life to look like in 10 years? I mean, some of my students who I mentor, I get them to physically draw this. Whoa. It's very challenging for them to draw it. And I'm not an artist, so my drawings are stick figures, and that's totally fine. It's not about that. It's about drawing what you aspire to be like in your life in 10 years' time. So where are you living? What are you doing for work? How do you have freedom of choice? Like, what are you doing in 10 years? Right?
Nice.
And so that's important, because if you don't have that big vision, then you don't have an emotional drive or attachment or like the ambition to get there. And you need ambition if you want to be a millionaire. You actually have to be not at peace. And I think that people get this confused. Like, oh, I want to be peace of mind and balance. I'm like, okay, well, if you have peace and balance, then you cannot have desire.
Whoa.
Because peace and desire do not live together. It's impossible. Because if you have desire, then you have discontentment. You're not at peace. And if you're at peace, you have contentment and you have no desire to change. So you actually have to be not at peace to be successful.
Wow.
People who are not at peace with their current life, they're not happy with it. That's discontentment. That creates desire. And that's why having a vision of this is what I want my life to look like and looking at your life now, it should create some conflict.
Nice.
Right? It's like, shit, I hate my life now. It sucks. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So you have to have, you take a snapshot of where you are now and where you want to be. And that should be different. Right?
There should be unequilibrium or something like that, because we talked about that a little bit last time about you get into that comfort zone, when you get comfortable, you're good. Like, house is paid, bills are paid. You're not in abundance. You're not anything extra. But if you have no vision, you're kind of just drifting along, kind of going along. And a lot of things it's crazy how many like in the last couple months here, a lot of the guests have been talking like that. We've been talking about with Radiate Motivate people. They came down here and we're talking about confidence and stuff like that. And how if you're not nervous, you're probably not doing something right, or not like shooting for something, because you're not doing it. You're doing something comfortable. So it's about like when Greg Sala was on here, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's a sort of mentality, right?
Yeah. And sadly, you have to be that way with wealth creation too. That's why it requires courage. I mean, everyone's scared, but having a vision is that first step of, I'm going to be bold here and I'm going to be different and I'm going to set myself up that I could fail here. And that's what fortune favors the brave and the bold. And so it takes courage to say, well, I'm not happy with my life. This is what I want it to look like. I'm going to create imbalance here for a moment to go in and say, well, I have to create the imbalance, because if there's no imbalance, there's not going to be any change. We have to create pain is what we're trying to do with a vision. You've got to create pain about where you are today and the pain of regret of not changing it. And that pain has to be greater than the pain of actually making those changes happen. Okay.
Nice. Mr. Corona, I see your question there about cryptocurrency. Good question. We're going to get to that on number 4. I think Lloyd.
Yeah, let's talk about that at step 4. That's fine.
Yeah, step 4.
We'll cover that.
Yeah, we're going to definitely cover that, Mr. Corona. Great question on crypto. Lloyd is financial guy. Yes. Mr. Corona, you're right on course, my friend. Keep asking those questions. Great question. He is a financial guru. He's a financial guy. He's a financial expert. And his mindset, number 1, is what we're talking about right now. Mindset is huge. We talked about your money story last time. This is mindset. This is vision. This is goals. Let's go to goals. What about goals?
Let's go to goals. So goals are stepping stones to your vision.
Goals are stepping stones.
Okay. So you have a big vision and it can be overwhelming and it can sort of put you into a state of procrastination if there's this big vision and you're like, oh my God, how the heck am I going to get there? So what you do is you break down your vision into measurable goals, and you have 30-day goals, 90-day goals, and 12-month goals, right? And so your 30-day goal.
Repeat that for the audience, 30-day?
You have 30-day goals, 90-day goals, and 12-month goals.
Nice.
Right? So you don't want to put them too far into the future. And you don't want to make them too big to start with. The 30-day goals are like, okay, well, if I'm going to change my life, I've got to at least change my job. Like if you're working shift work and you just beat up all the time, you're like, hey, the first step is I'm going to get a new job that gives me a bit of spare time so I can start my podcast or do this or do that, right? So you might want to have that as your 30-day goal. Get new job. Okay, as an example, right? You've got to position yourself for success. And I don't think people understand that.
So you're not rushing to the podcast and using the dunny and jumping on real quick.
Well, it's not even that. It's like
that's my life.
That's because you're transitioning, right? Yeah. Which is great. But you've got to have these short-term goals. So it might be, look, do my first 4 episodes of my podcast, or set up my micro investing app with Acorns, or it might be.
Phil was telling me about that app yesterday. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Amazing app. We'll get to that at step 4, but. These basic goals, save $1,000 in 30 days, whatever the goal is, you get to choose. But what's going to take you closer to that vision? think about what you can achieve in 30 days. Now, 30 days goes by quite swiftly and you achieve some stuff, hopefully, and then you reset and you do another 30 days, another 30 days. That becomes kind of like, what can you achieve in 90 days?
Nice.
The 12-month ones are quite good because you can be pretty bold. Like, it could be like, invest $10,000 this year or invest 30,000. Like, it can be quite bold. It can be do 100 episodes of my podcast, right? It can be start a side hustle and make 10,000 profit this year. It can be, I don't know, like, I'll think about some of my goals. Yeah.
It's just like putting a crazy balloon in month 12 of these crazy ideas and just going, like you said, you could use the word being bold, just like be bold with it.
Yeah, be bold. Yeah, we've put on our 12-month goals. I had on there win bodybuilding competition once, and I did that.
And you did it.
Yeah, and we had on there like run 100-kilometer ultra marathon. We did that.
What? Oh man, this guy's not. I'm telling you, he's physical with it. He's physical with it, money with it, everything.
That's their personal health goals and sort of personal challenges. That does forge a very strong mindset in yourself and discipline, which is required for money management too. But we've had big goals in our business, like reach $1 million in our side hustle, or hit 7 figures in our share portfolio, or invest another 100,000, or travel here, or go to this event, or speak at 2 events, or speak at a big event here, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like yours, Ray, would be like interview this person this year. Like, I want to get Gary Vaynerchuk on the show this year.
That would be sick.
Yeah, but if it's not on the goals board, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to set these bold, audacious goals. Now, something weird happens when you do this. The universe conspires to help you. It's strange.
Totally.
So be careful what you put on there, because it will come true.
Yeah. The other day, I literally had somebody on the hook. Like, I was about to interview this guy that I've wanted to interview for a long time. It almost happened. Something kind of flew through. This just with scheduling and stuff for him. But I literally almost had the guy on here. It was crazy. I won't tell you who it is, but it's crazy.
Okay.
You're right. Things happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
So look, the goals are just there to give you something to measure and tick off, so you feel like you're moving towards your vision. That's the most important thing, right? But also, goals aren't always there to be achieved. They're there to give you a target.
Nice. Yeah, so I love it, because it's a big difference between your vision, your main big thing that you want to create, and then your stepping stones, like you said, to that vision. Those little, because you kind of need that, right? You need, like, you start moving along and things start happening. You kind of want. Give us the importance of, like, celebratory things, like you hit a step, you hit a marker in your goals, in your vision. You kind of want to step back and not, obviously you want to move forward fast, boom, boom, you're hitting your marks, but you want to step back and sometimes, celebrate some of the things, accomplishments you made, because you've come a long way, right?
Yeah. Well, you've got to have gratitude along the way, because otherwise you can fall into victim mode quite easily without gratitude. So it's about, what do we have and what have we achieved so far that we're grateful for? Okay, well, we did this, we did that. Okay, it fills you with self-esteem. Far out, I'm amazing. I just did all those things. Okay, and it fills you with belief, confidence, self-esteem, gratitude, and that opens your mind up to allow you to go to the next goal with vigor and excitement, and you move from one failure to another, or one success to another, with the same sort of attitude. But we have in our house, we have a bell. It's literally stuck to the wall. And every time we do a big sale, or we make a sale in one of our businesses, we go out and ring it in our house here.
Boom. I told you, Ramon, I have a big gong in my office. The office. I have a little big gong, like a mini gong. Every time I get a little bing, and people hear it from downstairs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a ritual. So I think if you're having a ritual about winning, so, Tom Brady talks about winning is a habit, and, it's a winning formula. So once you learn to win, you got to reinforce that behavior. So you got to ring your bell, hit your gong, and you just get anchored to this winning experience. And so it's just one win after another. And eventually you just keep winning. You just get used to it.
Hell yeah. Right? Ramon says that true. Ramon has seen the bell. He's seen the gong.
Yeah, you go. Get a gong.
He actually hates it. It rings so much. I make so many sales. It rings too much in the office. He's making
like automatic gong.
Yep. Bing, 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 bing. All day.
So the third part to this whole thing is environment, right? Like in the first step.
Exactly. Environment is the third part of that mindset thing. Why is it so important to have environment? I talked to you last time. I'm learning this, What is it? Why is it so? I'm not even going to answer it. I'm going to let you answer that.
Yeah. Well, the human brain learns kinesthetically through activity, and it can catch things. That's, if you hang around certain people, you will become them, right? You will be influenced or infected by the environment. And it's just how our brain works, which is why you don't want to be hanging around ineffective people or people who have different goals to you. Like if someone wants to drink and smoke and gamble and swear, you got 5 of your friends doing that at the local pub on the weekends, then that's going to be you. Not because that's who you want to be, but that's the environment you're going to be in.
Those used to be our friends, right, Lloyd? Me and you had those friends.
Totally. Yeah, of course. And some of my friends still do that. But you know what I learned was, if you get, environment is stronger than willpower.
Yes, I love
right?
that.
It is.
Said that before, yes.
And so what I mean by that is, if you just people say to me, what's the first step I can take to just change my wealth? I'm like, the most important step you can take is to change your environment. They say, what? That seems too easy. I'm like, well, try it, because your friends will try and pull you back in. But once you make the change, I remember I used to come out of work and I could turn left to go to the pub. I hang out with my dad there too, but he's in a different stage of his career. But I could turn left and go to the pub, or turn right and go home on a Friday. And the moment I just decided one day to go right consistently, my life changed. It's because I wasn't hanging around certain activities that weren't going to move me forward. I needed to get to work. So I think change your environment doesn't always necessarily mean go hang around amazing people. It means stop hanging around the people that aren't going to take you to your goals.
Okay? Yeah, because I think you told me, I don't know if it was you that told me, you're the sum of the the 5 people you hang out with. Was it you that told me that?
Well, it's like, show me a group of 5. What is it? Show me four fools, and I'll show you the 5th.
Yeah, there you go. You told me that. I don't know if it was that. I don't know if that was in the Snowball Bug or one, either you told me.
Yeah, that was one we talked about that last episode. But
but
it's true. Like so if you want to change your wealth, you've got to change who you hang out with in your environment. Okay, now that doesn't mean you got to hang out with millionaires straight away, but it just means, like, even hanging out on this podcast and listening to this is a good step, right?
Right.
So hanging out with Ray more, hanging out with me more. That's why podcasts exist. You can listen to the environment too. Read the books, listen, change your friendship circle, get a mentor. This is how you start to change, your wealth story. Okay. So environment, flipping, the most important thing.
Boom. Okay? And that takes you right into what you just said, mentorship. Why is it so important to have a mentorship? How does that speed the process?
Well, it's the only way to speed the process. There is no other way. People say, what's the cheat code to success? And I was like, well, actually, mentorship is the only cheat code. They say, what do you mean? I said, well, you got to stand on shoulders of giants. Like, why would you try and reinvent the wheel when your neighbor has got a wheel shop? Like, it's
nice.
Go and have a chat to the neighbor and say, hey, man, I need to make wheels. Can you help me? He's like, yeah, I've got heaps of wheels here. I can show you some stuff. I can accelerate your learning. Right.
Yeah, he's already done it. It's like, there's not too much that hasn't been done before, right? It's maybe different, and maybe you bring that edge to it, but somebody's done your thing before.
That's right. And it's not like you just copy them, but you can model their success formulas, because the principles of success in anything, be it in some health thing or money or whatever, or relationships, there are already people succeeding in those realms, and they have frameworks to follow. So why would you go and try and figure it out yourself when you can just go and engage them, and they can say, oh, no, you're on the wrong track. You need to be here and here and here, and here's the frameworks, and go. Oh, nice. That's amazing. Thank you so much. You've saved me 5 years of fluffing around trying to figure the answer out for myself.
Hell yeah. Robbins talks a lot about like patterns, like finding patterns and
yeah, totally. That's how the human brain works. It identifies pattern identification. So look at like formulas, patterns, and the same things will start popping up for you, and you'll see that, success it leaves clues, and 100%. And you just got to go find the clues. But you can engage. Like, mentorship is about getting the fast track. Like, hey, I've got all these issues here. I need to solve them. How can you help me? You say, well, look, here's the problems. Here's what you can't see. Here's what you can see. Here's some solutions. Go execute and come back to me, and I'll hold you accountable.
Huge, because especially if you're in the middle of it, and especially as you get further and further along, and you've built your company and you're kind of in the grasp of all that, there's money mind groups or different groups that can help you. Like, hey, dude, I've been in that situation. I can see it from the outside. Here's what you're going. Here's how I solve that. And
that's right. Correct. Like that. It's personal experience. Like, I know how you feel. I did that too. Here's what I found. This is what I did. You can do the same thing, and I've saved you 2 years, or I've saved you $50,000 in no losses. Like, There's
Boom.
that stuff too. People don't realize when you pay attention. That's the first thing with mentorship. When you pay attention. You pay for proximity. You pay for their network. You pay for their introductions. You pay for lots of stuff to get around them, right? But what you really do too is that you pay to avoid future losses that are more catastrophic, because there is a cost to success. You either pay it up front or you pay for it later. And those later mistakes are usually far more costly. And that's why I pay. Good example I used recently. I was talking at actually I'll get Morgan to jump on your podcast as a guest. He'll be good.
Oh, hell yeah. What's his name?
Morgan Nelson.
Morgan Nelson.
He's a buddy of mine, and he did an event here in Australia called Dreamfest, right? Now, he had Daniel G speaking there, Dr. DeMartini speaking there.
I've been listening to Daniel G because of you.
Okay, cool.
On your
I'm going to try and bring him on my show, but and maybe on your show too. But
I hooked up with Casey from Casey and
Dude, I mentor those guys. Yeah, they said.
So it's gonna be dope, dude.
That's lit, man. I haven't even heard my show yet. I'm like, that's awesome.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, dude.
I will. Oh, wait. I was like, I better pull my finger out. But it's amazing. I mentor those guys, but they're a good example of success. Like, they have successful habits. And you'll see that on the show. They're just so good. But,
really cool people. Tweety Clothing. Shout out to Tweety Clothing.
Yeah, shout out to Tweety, Josh, Casey, amazing couple. So check it out, right? Like, Morgan has this event, Dreamfest, and I go to speak. I was at I did another one of his events in the start of the year called Mega Success. Anyway, I went up and I was talking about money and I had this amazing program called Investing Mastery. I was talking to people. Effectively, the idea was to give a ton of value, and those who want to work with me closely, they can jump into my Investing Mastery course content with me and do it, right? Nice. So I go there and I have no real experience actually making sales from stage. That's a craft. That's an absolute craft.
Oh, yeah.
And so I go up there thinking, oh, no, I got this. I can do it. I've sold on Zooms and blah, blah, blah. And got to the end of my talk and just fell on my face. There was no one.
My friend? Mr. Lloyd Ross? No way.
Yeah, no.
That's encouraging. Now I feel better about myself.
There you go. Okay, great. So I'm being vulnerable. No, so the result,
because your thing is just vision and like inspiring. You get on the stage and you're blast off. You were out of your box there. You challenge yourself. You challenge yourself.
Correct. I challenged myself. It was scary, nervousness. I hadn't done it before. That's why.
That's awesome.
And it was the first experience. I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. I could either fall on my face or I could succeed here. I fell on my face. And so
you have to, though. That's the growth. That's
totally. And people said, what do you mean you fell? It was amazing. Great talk. But I'm like, yeah, but
they can't tell. They can't
tell, right? I could tell. But so I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I understood it. I learned from it. So you either win or you learn. Okay. Now here's the point I'm trying to make. Later on, Morgan has this event, and I knew I had to improve. Now he happens to know a guy I introduced me to, and he teaches this stuff, and I did a call with him, 2 calls, and it just totally changed my whole presentation, how I spoke. Just I literally modeled this craft.
And you had to pay for this. This isn't something that was free. You had to pay, just like
thousands.
Yeah, Lloyd has a mentorship. You got to pay for it. Lloyd pays mentors to get them to the next level. You got to pay now or pay later, like you said.
That's right. So I'm like, well, I'll pay now. So I paid thousands of dollars, got amazing value, and then it resulted in a very successful Dreamfest event where we had 20 to a lot of people beginning the program, and which is great. It's a win-win-win for everybody.
You saw immediate ROI from it.
Yeah, of course, 100%. It was like a 1 week ROI, right?
Holy, quick.
It was amazing. And
dude, so talking about speeding the process up, literally mentorship.
Exactly. And it was just, it just served everybody better. It served me better. It served the audience better. It served the people who want to make change better. Just everyone wins. So like, and a mentor wins too. So like everybody wins in this situation. There's no losers. So nice. I think that's a great example of even me. I still engage wherever possible. Not always possible what you're doing, but if you can engage a mentor who can teach you something faster, and that's like, I don't know how much that's worth to me. It's worth
millions. For you, yeah, dude. Like I think like me or other people in the stream, we're just starting out. We're just at the peak of watching our vision across the sky
Yes.
or whatnot, that we have this dream. But it's important for us to see the importance of mentorship at this early stage, because how much more important is it, like I said, when you've already got the business going, the brand is already established, the Lloyd Ross brand is already established, everybody knows who Lloyd Ross is, he speaks everywhere, he's a big he speaks in front of everybody, in a split, he could do it no problem, he can speak in front of anybody. But Lloyd Ross gets mentors. Lloyd Ross needs mentors. And was it worth it to him? Oh hell yeah! His ROI is a lot more. The traction on that is a lot more for this guy, and that's what I'm talking about. When you get to that level, guys, in the stream, you're gonna need that traction. You're gonna have it fast because your brand is already known.
It's really interesting though, Ray, you bring that up, because I was paying for mentorship many years ago, but it was like $1,000. Then it was this, and then it was $5. So I was always, I remember for our network marketing business, we paid a couple who went millionaire very quickly. We paid them $2,000 to sit with them for 3 hours.
Wow.
I'm no stranger to paying for access, success, proximity, and the secret code. It's just, you don't always get to find those good mentors, So it'll always be there, but it is worth millions. Even the guys on Twitch and stuff, like, here's why. Because when you learn a mindset and a skill set that is scalable until you're 85 or 90, that is actually worth millions. Because if you can learn how to make money and then multiply it, that will actually compound to lots of money. It's not so it's actually worth more than what even people think.
100%. And it gets us into, bro, because I've been reading that Snowball book. I've been reading that freaking that book on Warren Buffett, and there's so much to that book. If you guys in the stream, if you haven't read the Warren Buffett book, Snowball, you can do the audiobook like I'm doing, and the girl reads it to you when you're driving in the car. But it gets you into that mindset. It gets you into that. He says stuff like, there was a moment where Warren Buffett was afraid to talk in front of people. Totally. And he went to Toastmaster, or he went to what's his name?
Dale Carnegie, $100.
Dale Carnegie. He went to that and practiced. He was terrified of speaking in front of people, and he practiced and practiced. And as he got older in life, you wouldn't think, all you think about is Warren. When Warren goes to a party, there's 10 people around him at every single time. He's talking to people all the time. That's what he does. He talks, he teaches, he goes to different schools, he goes to different seminars, he teaches. That's the Warren guy. You wouldn't think of a guy like Warren being scared. Everybody starts somewhere. That's 100%. The thing about that book. It takes us into the next thing. Number 3, manage your money. We're going to slowly get into this. Manage your money is it. Okay. It says managing your, basically it's you're managing your behavior. And I'm a bad boy. Managing your behavior. First 10% is your, okay. There's a whole crazy thing to this. How do I change my behavior, sir?
God, this is a very challenging step for a lot of people, because it requires you to change your behavior. And human beings, we don't like that. We hate changing our behavior.
No.
Right? We're not geared that way. Our brain's not even set up that way. It's actually set up to give us consistent synapses that are ingrained, that we just don't change our behavior because it's more safe. So you got to fight the mindset. So it's like this. Managing your money is not managing money. It's managing your behavior. Because if you can manage your behavior, you can stop certain spending or certain patterns from happening that would plug the holes in your money bucket. And that's what I mean by changing behavior. So instead of spending your money on new sunglasses and this and that, you say, hang on a second. Let's just manage some of this dopamine addiction that I've got for a bit. Let's put it somewhere else. Let's figure this out somehow. And let's stop spending as much, and let's start putting some aside and paying ourselves. The problem with that is that people have good intentions about, I'm going to pay all my bills, and I'm going to save some money. That's how they normally do it.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I like just pay all my bills, and then whatever's left over, when you're at my level, you save it for the next month, because hopefully you'll survive to the next month.
There you go. Okay.
But you're totally opposite. You're like, pay myself first. Like, what? So my question is, what happens if like you pay yourself that 10%? You say pay yourself 10% once you get the check. Pay yourself 10% first. What happens at the end of the month if I have that $300 or whatever I have, but my phone bill has to get paid. That's $285. What do I do?
Go find money somewhere else.
Money.
Nice.
Like
you get off your ass and go make some more sales, or you take a second gig, or you do, like, you have to be industrious. But what it does is it forces you to find the money, because what if you just had 90% less income? You would figure it out then. So why is it you go for the easiest access to go rob yourself? You're robbing your future self. So look, if you don't pay yourself first 10%, nothing will ever change. There will always be a reason. Oh, I needed to get the money because I got a speeding ticket and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, flipping, you got a speeding ticket, go find out the money somewhere else. Go sell yourself on the street, just whatever. Okay?
Your last advice to me was get an Only page. Remember that advice?
Yeah, OnlyFans. Yeah, OnlyFans, right? But I think you just got to really put yourself into emergency. I mean, if you don't pay yourself first and get in this habit, you're never going to master your wealth, ever. There's never going to be money because you're not creating it. So if you just, like, for example, if let's say you're making 50,000 a year, right? Just as an example, then every time you get a paycheck, and let's say you got paid weekly, I don't know who does, but let's say it's $1,000 a week. Then as soon as the pay or any amount of money hits your account, you're just taking out 10%, right? So 10% of 1,000 is $100. $100. Now, if you get paid $500 a week, it's $50. If you get paid like this week, a bunch of tips from your hospitality job, and you made $200, guess what? 20 is yours. 20 is yours first.
Nice.
Okay, 10% of everything that hits your account is yours, and it's your future self. Okay, so if you can do this with small money, you'll be able to do it with big money.
Ooh.
But if you can't do it with small money, no amount of money that you make is ever going to change your life.
You're my friend. I want to pause because this is a breakthrough for everybody. This is something I've never even heard. When I heard that was the first thing that like stuck out, like the bing, 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 bing. When that was the thing when I'm like, Lloyd, okay, money buys happiness, money grows on trees. Okay, those are crazy ideas, but I can deal with it. But the 10% to yourself and not the gas guy, not the water guy, not the trash man, not the mortgage. 10% to yourself, that scares the hell out of me. Look at what Mr. Corona says. Changing behavior is hard for a lot of people because the mind is programmed to spend the way they want to spend or even are taught to spend. That's totally a great point, Mr. Corona.
Yep. It's the way it is. The brain doesn't like change.
It's crazy.
But you know what? If you do that, then if you come into $1 million a year, 100 grand is yours.
100 grand is yours. Remember that. Wealth is a habit. Plan first and the money will come. That's what you say in the book. Totally. That's awesome. 10% invest, and then take that 10% and invest it into the money tree. And that's what we talked about last time.
So that's like step 4 out of the 5 steps. So once you got the right mindset, you engage mentorship to get the success secrets, and you kind of execute, and you're getting some money. Like, let's say, for example, you start a podcast and you got Patreon and you're getting paid or whatever, and you got your money-making ability is there. Okay.
Nice.
And you're setting aside 10%, you've ticked that step. Okay, you're getting control of your money management, which is great. The next step, people often do this, Ray. They make a mistake. They say, oh, I'm saving. I'm like, oh, okay, great. What are you saving for? They say, I'm saving for a trip. I'm saving for a vacation. I'm saving for a whatever, right?
Car.
Now that's okay. That's right. That's okay if you don't have those things. But at some point, the 10% you're setting aside is actually for investment purposes.
Nice. So listen to that. Listen to what he just said. The 10% is not for fun. It's not for strippers. It's not for beers. It's not for boat trips and taking the wife to Paris. We're getting into number 4, multiplying your money. And once you do that, and how do you do that? You invest it in assets. You take that money, invest it in assets. And so Mr. Corona, he's a big crypto guy. Is crypto the way to go? Are those the assets we buy, Mr. Lloyd?
Well, here's the thing. You want to invest it into assets that scale without your effort, but that also eventually pay you an income, because that's how financial independence and freedom is created. It's from cash flow. Okay.
Cash flow. That's right.
Yeah. Like, wealth is a measure of how many days you can live at your current lifestyle without having to work another day in your life. That is actually the wealth formula, right? I think Robert Kiyosaki talks about that.
Say it again. It's worth saying again. Wealth is the
the measure of how many days you can survive at your current lifestyle without working another day in your life. That's infinite time. there is no end to that. It's just you don't have to work it. Like your money is coming in from assets. Cash flow is coming in from assets. Okay. So for example,
I wrote it down. If you guys didn't get it, that you're screwed. I was listening.
I wrote it down. Let's say, for example, you invest your 10% consistently into an index fund like the S&P 500,
nice.
Right? Which is like the top 500 companies in North America. And over time, that fund returns about 10% a year on average every year. Now, if you compound that, you're going to have not only an asset that's growing, but it's going to throw off a cash flow in forms of dividends too. Whereas with crypto, the thing with crypto is this: I would prefer people to get good at a game that's still going to be here in 30 years.
Oh, so you're saying the crypto ain't going to be here in 30 years?
Blockchain 1,000% is. Blockchain 1,000% is. Bitcoin as a brand and as a thing could be, but it doesn't mean it's going to grow. People yes, it will still be around, but what's it going to be worth? It's so unknown. It's uncertain.
Actually the only tree that grows like this.
Yes, up and down. It doesn't drop any fruit.
It goes right down.
Yeah, but it also plays on people's minds because it doesn't end. There's no end to the market. It doesn't produce cash flow, and people go, "Oh, but staking." I'm like, I'm going to get into that, but it's not a game that I want to get good at. I want to get good at games that the top 50 wealthiest people in the world are good at, which is actually investing in businesses, which is stocks. Nice. That's the only game I want to get good at. Why would I want to get good at games that Warren Buffett didn't want to get good at? He and Charlie Munger and these guys are the wealthiest guys in the world. They're running billions of dollars. They don't touch the stuff. They don't touch Bitcoin. Why would I want to get good at that game? It's too uncertain. There are people in it, of course, like the Winklevoss twins. That's their prerogative. That's what they're betting on. That's fine. But I want certainty in my wealth creation. I want to know that my vision can come true, and I don't want anyone to take me off track. So I've got to follow the path that others have followed before me to create the wealth. And I don't know how many. Yeah, I mean,
because everybody, sorry to interrupt, but everybody was on that train for the past 5 years. Me, Ramon, everybody, Mr. Corona especially, were on that train like crazy. And I knew it was coming. The crash was coming. A friend told me, he's like, dude, this August, he told me last August it was going to crash. And then boom, we waited a little and it happened this year. Bejujas, the bottom was taken out of it. And it was, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it, even though I knew it was coming. It's crazy.
Here's the thing, though, Ray. Like, the reason why I buy stocks is because I can value a company.
Yes,
I can value it. Like, if you're going to buy a coffee shop that sells this much coffee and produces this much income, you know reasonably what you're going to pay for that coffee shop because of the amount of cash flow that it brings in. So you have a reasonable idea of what it's worth. Like, you wouldn't go to your local coffee shop and pay $5 million for it if it's only making $50,000 a year, right? So you have like a gauge rod. You're like, well, I kind of know the realm of what I'm prepared to pay for this thing, what it's worth. You can't make those calculations on crypto. It's impossible because it doesn't produce cash flow. You can't discount them back to a current value. You just can't do it. You just can't mathematically. It's impossible. So because of that, I don't know if it's worth $63,000 a BTC. I don't know if it's worth $3,000. I have no fucking idea. It could be worth $1. I just cannot tell. So I don't want to play games where I don't understand what I'm buying in terms of the value that I'm getting.
Okay. Yeah, Warren talks about that. He would go when he first started early in the game. He would literally go to the company, look at the management, see how the management structure was, understand the company before he would even buy anything. That's brass nuts right there.
Well, look at this. Wouldn't you prefer to own, I don't know, shares in Netflix than crypto? Because at least Netflix, you know how it makes its money. People buy content every month for $20. It's pretty simple. Do you want to own that type of business or not? Yes or no? And if you can, how much does it make? What's it worth?
Right. And you use something called equity. I highly recommend you guys get into Lloyd Ross and his Facebook channel and his podcast, Money Grows on Trees. He's got a lot of information. His whole brand gives a lot of information. You give some information. You get into equity and the way and certain things to look at, like tactics on things to look at. Equity, something or other. And by the way, when you said that, I looked for it. And it wasn't like the first thing you see on the page. It's not like this basic stuff. You got to click advance on TD Ameritrade and get and the stuff Lloyd was telling me about was on the advanced page. You click on that and there it was. And it told me the percentage of equity to something loss, whatever you were talking about.
There's certain elements. That's really interesting. There's certain elements of what you want to look for when you're buying a business, and a public company is like a business that has stocks on the exchange. So there's certain things I want to look for when I'm buying into a business, right? But the good thing about in step 4 of multiply your money through an index fund is you don't have to know that stuff. And Warren Buffett has told this so many times at Berkshire Hathaway meetings, I can't even count. He says, listen, for the layman, and he says, I would do it too if I wasn't a professional at what I do. But he said, you will beat something like 80% of professionals, you'll beat them at multiplying your money if you just buy the S&P 500. I mean, because I've said it a million times, the smart people do it, the dumb ones don't do it. Like, it's that simple. He says that pretty much. Yeah, and I'm like, that's so incredible. So I've even given myself a 5-year time frame. If I can't beat the market over the next 5 years, I'm done. I'm going all in S&P 500. What's a waste of my time?
All in S&P.
Well, why would you spend time trying to beat the market when you can't? I mean, you just put it in the market,
or at least buy what is it, BRBK, something like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. At least buy Berkshire Hathaway, which I used to own, which is a wonderful business, right?
Beats the market half the time, anyways, right?
Totally. If you just took your 10% that we're talking about step 3 and just bought even Berkshire Hathaway for the rest of your life, you'll be flipping rich.
Nice. Even B? You think even B? You think?
Yeah, because it's a direct 1/1500th of the A.
Yeah.
It's completely proportional, so it goes up at the exact same. The only difference with A is you get voting rights. But,
okay. So that's the only difference.
Totally. So here's the thing. I want to impart this to your listeners because I really want to inspire them with this. Okay. Because people turn their nose up at $100 if they're setting aside the money. Like, oh, it's only $100. They're waiting for the big jackpot. And that's what also attracted people to crypto. They're looking for the jackpot, the lotto win, right?
Yeah, of course.
So let's skin it back and say, well, look, if you and I are going to play a game of golf, do you play golf? Can you play golf?
I try. It's horrible. It's some of the neighbors get more balls than the actual field.
So it ruins a good walk.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you and I are playing golf, and we're going to be on the golf course together. And I say to you, hey, let's bet 10 cents a hole. You say, okay, I'm pretty crap at golf. I'll do 10 cents a hole. I can deal with that. I say, but there's a caveat. It doubles every hole. You're like, okay. So the next hole is 20 cents. The next one's 40 cents, and so on and so forth. By the time we get to the 15th hole, the money on the table is about $600 on the 15th hole. Okay, like that's not too bad. I can kind of deal with that. By the time we get to the 18th hole, it's $10,000.
Damn.
Think about that. We started with 10 cents, and 18 holes later, doubling at every hole, we're at 10,000. Now, the stock market doesn't double every year, but it does go up by 10% every year on average. So you think about it over a 30-year time frame, and you're looking at millions. Like, this is what I mean by a dollar's not a dollar. It's not. It's something else. It's compounded into the future. So I think that's important for a step 4 is the reason I go into stocks is because it's proven. Other billionaires have done it. I want to get good at that game. I want to master the game over the next 30 years. And I know that game is worth playing. And I have certainty around it. Whereas other games, I avoid them altogether. There's no point even playing them because you can't play every game. I mean, you want to be good like Michael Jordan. You can't be playing flipping tennis and then this and then that. Tom Brady.
Yeah, even you don't mess around with real estate. You're like, I'm not messing with real estate. That's not my thing. You go straight.
Not really. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, you can't have time. I would under the certain circumstances because I understand the asset, but I want to get good at just one thing.
Nice. Just to wrap that section up, invest assets. You said in the book, assets feed, liabilities eat you. Invest in myself, invest in my business, and invest in assets. That'll cover that 4th step. Let's get into step 5. Start to want to make money. Here's where that Warren Buffett thing. This is where I started getting it, like the whole full circle. It comes into a full circle. Start to want to. You start to like Warren Buffett, like when they would talk about how his wife would spend things on this, and he would get bothered. You get the sense that he doesn't get bothered because of the thing that she's buying. It's more of a sense like he's bothered because he can't take that $50 and put it into a stock index, just like right. And that's how I feel sometimes. Like when my wife's gonna like, damn it, I don't want to spend that $100, and she might think I'm cheap, but no, I want to buy some more Bank of America because now it's $12. The freaking thing's diving right now. I want to buy that. And so does that and then so that's part of it. But then also you start to want to make more money to get more stocks. Like that happens. Is that where we're going with this, or am I way off?
No, you're exactly on point. That makes it like, because if you think about this, if you got the right mindset, you got a mentor, you understand some concepts about managing your money, you save some, put into some stocks, and you go, okay, this is going to work for me. Your brain goes, I've got the vehicle. I've planted the money tree. It's going to work. But I've got to speed this sucker up. I've got to go find more money. I've got to find more money. And when I discovered that myself, I'm like, I'm not going to get to millionaire for ages. I need to go find more money so I can stick in the flipping index fund. So I started network marketing as a way to make more money. That's what got me into network marketing.
More stocks.
Yeah. I saw my wife in the car this morning. You guys said, isn't it funny? I've built all these, we're building these businesses, and all I just want to do is just buy stock. Like, that's my driver.
It's the best.
I didn't have enough.
It made me want to sell the Impala. I'm telling you right now. It made me want to sell the 69. It was great.
Hell yeah, man. It happens. My brother-in-law sold his car after he read my book. He's like, I'm done. I'm out. Be careful.
Yeah, you almost got me out of a car. I would have been walking. I would have been taking the metro.
Yeah.
If I kept reading any further into your book.
That's funny. What's fascinating is you're so on point, and that's why I really encourage people to get a second income, start a business. Like, if you're really going to be wealthy, you got to be in a business of some sort. But you don't start out in a business. You start with a little side gig like podcasting or network marketing or affiliate marketing, something to get you grounded in the skills required to market and sell and promote and all that stuff. So that's effective use of your time. That's called make money. And it requires, this is the combat. Like, it ain't easy. It's a fight.
It's a sweat.
Battle.
You see the sweat on my brow? Look at this.
It's like
you said 9 to 5 gets you your job, and then 5 to 9 is your dream. You said that on your Instagram.
5 to 9 builds a dream. Yeah, but I remember people saying to me, "Oh, Lloyd, how long do I have to work on my side gig to make money?" I'm like, "Well, when it was me, you couldn't pry my flipping fingers off my phone. I was working as much as I could to get out of that. Like, I wanted to get out of the rat race. I was working around the clock. I'm so.
You had that 2-hour drive in Saudi or in Abu Dhabi. That's why.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I ain't going back to that. Like, the pain was so great, and it still drives me. I'm like, I ain't going back. I ain't going back to jail. Right? It ain't gonna happen. You can't take me back. So that's what's going on in my head. So I think that you go make money to then feed your addiction to stocks.
That's sick, my man. I think I'm going to get you out of here on time this time.
Wow.
We're at 52 minutes.
Okay.
You good?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm good.
How do we find you? James Ross, Lloyd J. Ross, Lloyd James Ross, LloydJRoss.com, Lloyd James Ross on Instagram. Follow him on Facebook. Get into the Money Tree group. You got to get into the group, because every time my thing's popping, I got it on the alert. Every time something comes on the freaking Money Tree, I got an alert, and it's value. I'm telling you, I'm in a lot of groups, but when that one hits, I look at it because I'm like, damn, Lloyd said that. What did Lloyd say today? I'm trying to figure out what he said, because it's always something good in the freaking group. It's valuable and it's free. The Money Grows on Trees group in Facebook. Join that. Check out his podcast, same name, Money Grows on Tree podcast. Lloyd James Ross, thank you so much for your time. 2 times in 1 month, my friend.
I know, it's amazing. Hey, thanks for having me on the show, dude. Yeah. Appreciate you. Awesome. Had fun. You're
awesome, man. Guys, follow Lloyd Ross on freaking Instagram. He is the man, my man, Lloyd Ross. We're going to do something crazy, Lloyd. I don't know if you've ever done this before. We're going to raid somebody's channel. We're actually going to take everybody that's in the stream right now, and we're going to jump into another Twitch channel, and then me and you we'll talk offset. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. Let's raid somebody. Let's see who we're going to raid today, guys. We are going to raid. How about Code Miko? She might not say anything. But I love Code Miko. Let's jump into Code Miko's show. Let's raid her right now. She's awesome. She's always coding some cool stuff. You guys check out Code Miko. Ready to raid in 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. And we are raiding Code Miko's show. We're in that show right now. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.